Acharyaya Kautilyaya Namo Namaha. We are doing Kautilyan Law. In beautiful context we are there, particularly which are almost relevant to present society. Whichever are not relevant, I am mentioning even that also. These are not relevant. Last session also I told the same. This such and such this system is not relevant today. But here, which are relevant, I am telling. Certain things, according to, that means those days, the culture in those days, I just, mentioned, like, moving with, um, that is moving with boys, like, ladies and gents going together for play shows, etc. It was really prohibited. That too, not exactly prohibited. According to Kautilyan rule, prohibited persons should not go. There, pratishiddha is a word he uses. That means if she is okay, if the husband and wife have mutual confidence in each other, then there's no problem. That's the reason he says pratishiddha stri. When a woman forbidden by parents it is she is kanya only, not a stri. So there is no problem. And as I told you, Kanya, with Arashati Kaumari, Kanya, there was no need to go and roam with boys like modern day. This is really, we can't say that not applicable. We cannot say, but co-education, when it is allowed, co-education, etc., education, everywhere the discipline was maintained. As long as the discipline is maintained, there's no problem. This is Kautilyan time before Christ. But if we really look at Indian culture, again, I have to focus. Indian culture, 6th century Bana, that is Kanauj king Harshavardhana's time. So that time the society was so lovely. It means to say that there was no misunderstanding at all in the society. That means not misunderstanding, but actually the friendship of a lady and a man, gentleman. It was allowed, and they used to treat equal men and women. And one example, always I quote anywhere. There actually, when you have read only some Chandrapida Charitamata graduation level also, that Chandrapida case, Chandrapida was a prince, and actually his mother brings neighboring king's daughter. She is also princess. So she is brought and made friend to Chandrapida. This is many people, because now Vana's Kadambari also, it is such a, what we say, pathetic situation that there is no literary beauty without studying Kalidasa works and also Bana. Here Kalidasa is Kavikula Guru, Bana is Gadya Vangmaya Chakravarti. So Bana is the king as far as the prose literature is concerned. And he is the first writer, first author to write love story which runs into three births. After seeing movies like Madhumati, or what we say like our Muga Manasulu, etc., people think that this is the first time. What a wonderful movie, because that rebirth, etc., that is discussed. But the credit goes to Bana, who has taken the characters, and also the connection between Gandharvaloka and Manavaloka. Always you know they are shapagrastas. That means they are cursed, because of curse they come down. So that way they wait for, in this birth is okay, and previous birth they get the recollections, and also they wait for next birth for the union. Beautiful love story. The love remains the same. So without the again here problem is as Kautilya's Arthashastra is not introduced in the curriculum. Similarly, actually Banas, Kadambari, that too, Kadambari, particularly that Chandrapita Charitam or Shukana Supadesha, etc. This was prescribed apart some, an extract from Bana. That is at graduation level as far as our Usmania University is concerned. I don't know about other universities. I'm not supposed to comment. But entire Kadambari, how many people in India in present generation? I am not talking about olden generation because they are thorough with Gadya Kavyas, Padya Kavyas. I am not talking about my seniors. My seniors were proficient in all the subjects. There's no doubt regarding them. And they can teach also any text, whatever text is given, they can teach. But present generation, because Bana's description it runs into pages, 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 long, long compounds. It is beautiful once you know, you are able to understand, if you are acquainted with the perfect knowledge, the grammatical knowledge, as I told you. Otherwise, nobody can. Because why I am telling means this is my own experience. I was scared of opening Bana's book before I started studying Vyakarana under our Guru Garu Sri Ramchandra Garu. I really am telling you two books I was scared to touch. Very openly I am telling. That is one is Panditaraja's Rasagangadhara and also the prose kavya of Bana Bhatta, whether it is Harshitirtham or Kadambari. Two, three times I tried to open it to go through it, but I got scared. My God, I cannot understand. Though there is a translation, etc. After I studied Vyakarana, Vedanta, and Alankara Shastra, etc., under Kungaru, then only suddenly new looks come into my eyes. Some Divya Drushti has come. So then onwards, I started understanding. That is the reason I am telling. I am not at all, looking down on anybody. What I am telling is this: to study this, we have to do hard work, and we have to study grammar, particularly grammar, samasas, etc. So that way, actually, it's not that easy. But in that, where I was, when in this context, there actually one princess, Patralekha, she was always companion to Chandrapita, not at all lover. And they don't say Bhagini, Eva, etc. There are no such expressions in Sanskrit literature. Like a sister, like a brother, such expressions are not there. Sakhi, Sakhi means a friend, that's all. No question. So the Eva, all this has these terms have come later on. So she always used to be with him. And particularly the pawn system is found very much. That is Kanya Kubja, we don't know, because even foreign relations, because like a birthday, Harsha's birthday, many people come with gifts at different places. So one description is there, as I told you to read my Bana Vani Ramaniyakam. You read at least sample pieces, you will understand. You will come across. So some there are. One fellow brought a palm tree. Palm tree means to that a tree-like thing. It's decorated in such a way. All palms are tied, and he brought it as a gift. And there used to be a description. There is a description of making a pan with 50 palm leaves, better leaves. So such things, unless we read, how can we know? Now, yeah, many places, the ponds, how costly they are. This is there. If you see, search in Google or anywhere, you will get. So she used to carry, that Patralekha, her name is, she used to take pan. Every time, in Hindi movies, they say, pan khao. So they used to have pan. And she used to carry that pan. And here another thing is, it is not, pan which needs which that is the some tobacco, because they need that spit in the that it doesn't need, because Indian pan system, again this is a just passing reference I am telling. Indian pans are eaten, chewed, eaten, juice swallowed, because it clears the throat. Whether you are aware or not, I don't know. But if 1 year, after 1 year, of course, small babies we cannot. After 1 year, for children, children also, kids I am talking, if they get cough or anything, we used to, under the supervision of my grandmother, I used, pound the pan, particularly only that lime and also that katta. This together, I used to, pound it, add a little bit oma, that is as usual something they say. And that is put in a cloth and taken the juice. That juice, just, half spoon or something, we used to put in the mouth of the kids. With that, the cough will be cleared. And the betel leaves, if just we make them lukewarm and just put on that, what we say, on the head, not forehead, on the head. Murdhan, they say, murdhni. The automatically the cold will be cured. So such things are there. This cultural effects will be known, cultural values will be known only with the knowledge of Sanskrit, earliest Sanskrit literature, or at least, because if there are translations, because we don't know in other states. I am talking mostly whatever I talk, it is applicable to uh, our Telugu states only, because I cannot comment about some Tamil Nadu or Kerala, because they have very ancient literature. How it is, I don't know. Without knowing that, I am not supposed to pass comments. Only about Telugu literature here and there I know. That's all. So like this, that means the uh, friendship between man and a woman was really considered as pious one, because if love is there means that relation is different, but only just because of some love happens, with everyone love doesn't happen. This is the thing one should remember. So that other attractions, money, etc., that is again, I am not going to modern life. Okay, let us talk in the terms of Indian, ancient Indian culture. So Kautilya also, he doesn't find fault a man and a woman going together, but he just simply there a clause is, once the woman is forbidden from going with her friends or relatives somewhere, forbidden already, she is prohibited. She is restricted not to go. If she goes like that, then there is punishment. Similarly, like, when really she may moves with romantic gestures, etc., also punishable. It is in ancient India. It is relevant or not relevant, I don't comment here, because it is personal observation, personal issue, because the consequences know, known to everyone. So sarva vidita satyam. So regarding that, from my part, there is no advice to the society, because in the society many learned are there. So I don't want to step into those controversies. Whatever is there here. So I'm not at all saying relevant or irrelevant. That one, everyone's conscious knows about it. Okay. And therefore, presenting gifts also when prohibited. So that is not advisable. Nowadays, of course, we don't, because uh, though forbidden, they just, they send the message, etc. That is the reason. It is almost 2,500 years gap is there. So no problem. Then, similarly, modern people, present generation, they don't like this. Here, Kautilya says, I mean, one same, once prohibited, they are not supposed to go to other village with some other. a man with another woman, a woman with another man, and also again there is a class. If they are relatives, she can. But with an unknown person, they are not supposed to. Now, no, actually going with unknown, spending it with unknown. Nowadays they comment like, they go to the room, and all the movies you see, all the movies and all the paper news, because movies are based on the real incidents. Only, of course, there will be some exaggeration will be there. Everywhere, friends, okay. But going to friends' rooms, friends' houses, and later on they say, no, 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 I am exploited by him. Arey, who asked you to go to a person, a man who is all alone in his room, and also both of you take drinks also, and in the Madaka Unmada Avastha, what happens, nobody knows. Now, afterwards, you come and complain to the court that I am exploited. This is the complaint by major ones, not minor ones. And even minor ones, according to Kautilya, what he says, the minor up to 18 years he won't allow. He says, Dvadasha Varsha Stri Prapta Vyavahara Bhavati. A girl attains the maturity stage 12 years only. So since then, she is liable. She is responsible for her deeds. Now you can understand. Earlier days, they used to perform the marriage to the daughters at the age of 10 only. But by 12 years, they used to go to lead married life with the husband, and they got children 13, 14 years also. What does it mean? That means the girl understands. Therefore, they say just 17 plus will be there. They claim that I am minor girl. If she is a minor girl, how can she um, goes to a person for certain things? So all this is for you people, for the society, for the audience who are listening to this, whether it is offense or not, you can decide, because all these are not at all permitted, not only in the time of Kautilya, even in our childhood. I am telling, not 300 BC, even 19th, 20th century, also it is not allowed. Now people, oh, ho, 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 they shout loudly, why, etc., etc. So for such people, my lectures are not at all meant for such people who simply they defend themselves regarding dressing, regarding so many things. That is, it is, like, the shushka charcha. When I always use one sentence, here also I'm telling you, I don't bow the seeds in barren lands. ఊషర క్షేత్రంలో అంటే బంజరు భూముల్లో నేను విత్తనాలు వేయను. బంజరు భూముల్లో విత్తనాలు వేసేంత మూర్ఖురాలిని కాదు. అంటే ఎవరైతే వినరో, ఎవరైతే మొండిగా ఉంటారో, వితండవాదం చేస్తారో, తమదే కరెక్ట్ అనుకుంటారో, అలాంటి వాళ్ళతో అసలు ఆర్గ్యూ చేయడం బెస్ట్. అందువల్లనే ఒక మంచి శ్లోకం ఉంది, కంప్లీట్ ఐ డోంట్ రిమెంబర్, ఉత్తమం ప్రణిపాతేన అండ్ సమ్ మధ్యమం ఏదో. సో మూర్ఖం చందానురోధేన. సో ఉత్తములకు ఏదన్నా ఉంటే ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ పెట్టుకోకుండానట దండం పెట్టి, పెద్ద ఆయన ఏది అంటే ఏమొస్తుంది, దండం పెట్టి వదిలేయాలంట, మధ్యమం ఏదో ఉంది. ఈ ఎవరైతే మూర్ఖుడైతే ఉంటాడో వాడికైతే చందానురోధేన, బాబుని ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు నువ్వు చేసుకో. సో ఇప్పుడు ఈ రోజుల్లో ఎవరైతే ఆర్గ్యూ చేస్తుంటారో, దర్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ రాంగ్ గోయింగ్ విత్, వాళ్ళకి కూడా నేను నమస్కారం చేసి, అమ్మా మీ మాటలు మీ వ్యాఖ్యానాలు మీకు ఉండని కాక, వద్దులే, మా మాటలు వినే వాళ్ళకే మా మాటలు పరిమితం, అందరినీ ఉద్దేశించి మేము చెప్పటం లేదు, మేమేం గంపగుత్త తీసుకోలేదు, అంటే మొత్తం సొసైటీని మా భుజస్కంధాల మీద మోస్తున్నామని మేము ఉద్ధరిస్తున్నామని మేము వీడియోలు చేయటం లేదు. మేము మాలాంటి వాళ్ళు ఏదైతే ఉంటారో మాలాంటి వాళ్ళు కోసం, సరే ఎవరైనా పాపం తెలియని వాళ్ళు ఉంటే గనక, ఏదో కొంచెం అప్పుడప్పుడు ఎదుగుతున్న వాళ్ళు, కొంచెం లోపల సంస్కార బీజాలు ఉన్నవాళ్ళు ఉంటే వాళ్ళ కోసమని నేను వీడియోలు చేస్తున్నానే కానీ ఈ సమాజాన్ని ఉద్ధరించడానికో మరొక దానికో చేయటం లేదు. కాబట్టి మూర్ఖం చందానురోధేన, ఎవరికి ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్లు వాళ్ళు ప్రవర్తించుకోవచ్చును. నా నా వలన ఎలాంటి బాధ వాళ్ళకి రాదు. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ గోయింగ్ టు interfere into their personal lives. Okay, so like this, same, and again, because going with a person, that to villages means you can imagine those days villages. It's no matter the risk is involved. Okay, let us leave that also. And now I am coming to the quite relevant point, that is remarriage. What is that remarriage? Here, though remarriage was allowed in times of Kautilya, there were certain rules to be followed. For everything, rule is there, remarriage is allowed. For transgression of above rules, they were to be punished. And also, Kautilyan system, why I am really impressed with the Kautilyan system means, he lays some rule immediately, as is equal to we say like that. Here, when we talk opposite words, good, bad. So when a rule is there, immediately for breaking the rule, there is a punishment. So the relative terms, immediately it is done. So no question of delay also. Any common man, like a village head also can impose that. Once he knows that, yes. Otherwise now they should wait that when that poor fellow has to go to court, and the court lawyers now, of course, there's no comment, but of course, when we are talking, the comments automatically come from our mouth. I can openly say that. How many Nyayavadis are real Nyayavadis? And they defend their comment is they don't know justice. Their justice is relative term. What they say, how relative term they use means, what is truth? Satyam. Satyameva Jayate is the slogan for in the court. Satyam means that is eternal truth, which is truth, not justified truth, not the converted truth. So, but many lawyers say, many lawyers, I know many people, they say, yes, we do, even in movies also, they say, we do justice to the persons who approach us, even if it is criminal. Always they say that, no, even 100 criminals can be let free, but single Niraparadi should not be punished. All this is, useless talk. Many people, otherwise, who is really making that argument on behalf of a person without charging money? Public prosecutors, government work, okay. But how much justice they are doing? Their hearts only they say. There are a lot of comments about these attitudes. So let us forget about it. So the relevance is, if the punishment is immediately imposed, automatically the crime rate will be reduced. So then only a crime-less society we find. But when there is no punishment, and also they say justice delayed is justice denied, they say. I am telling through this media that the punishment delayed is punishment denied. Because once really punishment that they put behind the bars, immediately bail comes and bail he roams, and multiplied crimes he does, and also influence, etc. So that's all. So that is the reason punishment delayed is punishment denied. So please, if anybody is listening to my videos, please make a note that this is this slogan also we should bring into the society. Yes, lawyers, dear lawyers, your arguments should help to bring the truth. If the criminal is maybe your relative or your, because there Ramayana, it is there. Asamanja, when he did, he has thrown children into the river, Sarayu river. He was banished from the kingdom. Now, of course, criminals, we need not banish them. Here they commit crime. Immediately they take a flight and they are automatically self-banished. They abscond means what? Even without our banishment, they are self-banished from own country. They go somewhere. Okay. Because they think that the hands of the justice are very short. They cannot reach other countries, but there is, supreme being which looks into everything, which does justice. I don't want to comment those things. Okay, let us stop here. Now, remarriage is allowed when it is allowed. Only then when there are proper reasons. What are the reasons? Again, Kautilya is making clear. A man may remarry if he does not get any child from his wife. Here, these people again, as I told you, this relevance is there or not means actually in olden days, the purpose of a marriage is children. Unfortunately, if the wife or husband are not able to, not having capacity to produce the children, it is a different issue because some, what we say, some flaws, some disabilities by birth which come, we are not really, that is God's creation, no comment. But actually, as we have seen yoga in Mahabharata, and here, of course, regarding wives, I am telling very openly, in my childhood, even now also, if there are no children, really wife herself, that way only Dasharatha has married three wives, isn't it? So she only, either her relatives or anybody known lady, she recommends and she performs marriage to her husband to have children. This is very, with cordial relation, it goes on. So therefore, man can remarry for sake of children, because ultimately the happiness of Dampatya Jivana is really in the offspring, in the children only, progeny. Everyone wants. Even if a tree is there, we planted a tree. If it doesn't yield fruits or, flowers, then really we don't entertain. Of course, which are like crotons, which do not, which are not meant for flowers or these fruits, they are okay. That is the different system. But when we plant expecting flowers and fruits, then if they don't yield flowers or fruit, then they will be simply ignored. So this way, Samaja, in society also, the marriage system is the for the continuity of the race, etc. They say family continuation. And not only that, nowadays affections are gone, means it is a misfortune of the generation. But the thing is, when parents become old, this was the concept. Automatically, the grown up children, because any man, any human being doesn't die immediately. Automatically, they will survive almost like 60, 70 years, where really they will not be able to do their own works. So this is the life it goes on. That is the reason for the support. మన తెలుగులో ఒక మాట చెప్తారు, వయసులో సంపాదించిన ధనమన్నా ఉండాలి, కన్న పిల్లలన్నా ఉండాలి అంటారు. Money, but even then money is a money, but money doesn't, money relation, financial relation doesn't have the affection as in blood relation. So again, no arguments here. These are the general tendency, general rules. Again, if people, some people go for a argument, please, you are welcome. Okay, now a widow. See, a widow, because it was allowed in the case of, as I told you, Ambika, Ambalika, etc. So a widow can now actually so many unmarried ladies, they want to have their children. This rule already has come, and they would like to have children, and they say yes, I want a boy, I want a child, and they simply they get the child, and they don't want to, like, get bound by these relations. They want to be free. So it is there. So a widow who really wants to have a child for the continuity. Adoption, nowadays adoption is there, but those days she is allowed to approach someone, particularly what some general rules what they do with, like, some relations, or particularly a noble person, etc. That is there. Okay. But now whatever are done behind the curtain, those days it was openly allowed, but conditionally. When such condition is there, it needs, And again, another thing, whose husband has gone to abroad without informing her may go for remarriage. That is, of course, certain stipulated period is there, because మనకి మామూలుగా తెలుగులో చెప్తూ ఉంటారు, వాడు పారిపోతాడు, పెళ్లి చేసుకుంటాడు, పారిపోతాడు, ఉన్నాడు పోయినాడు తెలియదు, వాడు అడ్రస్ ఇవ్వకుండా పోతాడు. A person marries and absconds without informing either wife or parents, his parents or her parents. Then what should be the result? How to know his whereabouts? People don't know whether he is alive or dead. In such conditions, of course, they're again coming to different periods, how much time she has to wait. So she can remarry, but after fulfilling the conditions. That is, again, I'll read out later on. And uh, a, a man, by returning the dowry, the woman's property, or a compensation and maintenance to his wife, may marry a number of wives. But whenever he wants to remarry, then what he has to do is he should return the dowry. This is the system. He should return the dowry, whatever he has taken, and then Shulka was not there. I'm, like, uh, you may ask, but Kanya Shulka was there. But when really some Stridhana, it constitutes Stridhana, when certain amount is given, or lands or something, some nagaras, because here Kausalya is Kosala Desha princess. Actually, part of Kosala. Like, now Telugu states are very good example. Once upon a time, this was a composite state, like, Andhra Pradesh. Now Andhra Telangana bifurcated. So naturally, here some chief minister, there's some other another chief minister. Here governor different, there governor different, so separate kingdoms. So this way the Kosala was in two parts, Uttara Kosala, Dakshina Kosala. I don't know exactly to which Kosala Kausalya belongs, but actually Kausalya is also Kosala Desha princess, and she owned so much of property. There were so many, it is mentioned in Ramayana, there were many, many of the villages under her rule. She has got her own property. So this way, whatever really is given, she only has total right in ancient India. Ramayana, I am talking about Ramayana Adhikarya. Now, Ramayana is earlier to Kautilya. I told you Ramayana and Mahabharata, both are very, very in remote past. Therefore, they are earlier to Kautilya's Arthashastra. So, like this, after giving her money, he can marry. Any number of wives, Kautilya says. Of course, because if you read anthropology is of course about society only. Why Bahubharyatva, monogamy, polygamy, etc. They say. Why this Bahubharyatva come into culture means, they say, there, of course, they talk about Draupadi also, but again, certain things which are not understandable by common man, I don't want to discuss here. But here, Bhaubharyatva, I want to tell you, when they own lot of property, particularly landlords, they say, landlords, they need some two, three ladies because one has to look into the household work and one has to take care of the work in the fields. So this way, so much of work is there. So to share the work burden. The Bahubharyatva was there and that was allowed, and they were having the capacity of maintaining two, three families. Similarly, kings used to get married because of some political relations, political bindings. Because with political alliance, automatically the enmity will be subsided. So, like this, there were reasons for Bahubharyatva. Bahubhartritva, I am not telling. If at all you are interested, you can study any book on anthropology, you will understand. That means social customs and tribal systems. Tribal life is also different. They don't have this that hardened with such rules in tribal life because their life is everyday struggle. When what happens, nobody knows. So that way, their ladies are given freedom, their gents are given freedom. So, whenever we talk about any cultural issues, we should look into the Desha Kala also. That is the time and the place when it happened, how it happened, why it happened. Now, if at all like passing reference, if we talk, actually we used to laugh in the beginning when that means foreign countries and North India, where the cold countries, cold places, they can happily wear coats, blazers, and shawls, etc. Ladies, if you see Hindi movies, everywhere shawls, etc. Because northern region, if you go to Sikkim or like Delhi, etc., etc., there is unbearable cold. Therefore, they'll have everything like masks, mufflers, etc. But the same way, if we want, here people go for suit, people go for blazer, etc. But unless there is AC hall, they cannot wear. Only silk sarees are allowed because you observe, this is my personal observation. Synthetic sarees no way help, but pure silk and pure cotton are comfortable in all the seasons. People think that silk sarees are uncomfortable during summer, but if it is a pure silk one, it gives you soothing touch. So pure silk, pure cotton. That is suitable to Indian, what we say, Indian climate. So this way, so many things are there. If you really read, uh, try to read like ancient literature. That means the books on ancient literature because there are some novelists who beautifully they describe olden days and also modern life day to day. I have read so many books like that. So with this, today we stop and next that how many days they can wait when husband has gone without informing how many days. After informing how many days. If she gets a son, then how many days? If daughter, how many days? If no children, how many days? This is beautifully given. Next session, I'll discuss on that. Here I stop. Okay. So